Adam, great job. Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, like I said, that we were talking about putting some content together. So I'm working on that, obviously, for next week, like many of us are. And in the meantime, I figured, um, you know, let let some people see what's going on behind the scenes. So let's go ahead and jump in. Now I'm a little rusty, so I'm gonna test how quickly I can recall how to even code. But I've already finished one set, so should be it should be coming back to me now. There. I have to mute my laptop so you guys aren't hearing any sound from that. I'm gonna see if I caught this back there. Arrow switch. Like riding a bike. Yeah. That's funny you said that. Like riding a bike came up in a conversation I had recently about learning. Oh, see? Not like riding a bike. What? Wow, I really messed up that comp. All right, let's try that again. New rally. Boom. There we go. And that, I mean, that's pretty, what I just coded there is pretty basic. I'm just trying to get like the big rocks, each of the contacts, the actions, um, and not grading anything really too detailed right now because um, all I'm simply trying to do is code this match so that I can use video and cut back to it later for the rotation video that I was talking about. If I were coding this for like statistical analysis or running some kind of study, then I would be a lot more detailed with kind of what's happening. Essentially, I'm just trying to make a rotation table. Sounds pretty loud in my ear. Like I said, if anybody's watching loud, I'll turn it down. What was that? Woo! I did not get everything, but I was close. And I made 2 errors. Damn it. That was close. That was a tough rally. I'm just going to keep moving on. I want to get this done. Should have been a 2. I know I said I wasn't going to get too detailed, but certainly can't have, like, on a first ball attack. I don't want. Ooh, hard to get blocks. I don't know why I can't type 49. Can't. Give her a block for that. Figured out later if that was a block or not. Wow, I didn't realize they were going back set so much. Dang it. Hard to make your judgments fast. Did 19 again. Dang it. Huh. The net? What about the net? Was there a net? Dang. Oh, I'm falling too far behind. Off my game. I missed a few things. Some of you wouldn't have caught that, but I think I missed 2 sets, and I didn't give 49 credit for hitting the ball. But she's a libero, so it's like you don't really need that data. Where it might skew things that I gave 1 a dig, but actually hurt the defender. Credit for that. Actually, no. I missed a set. that as well. Anyway, I hope everybody's having a good time at home. Figured out some kind of routine by now. Yeah, focus. Ooh, good choice. Wow, they were really going hard. Look at this. I had no remember them going this hard with their back sets. But it's like every ball is going back. Good game plan. Double sub, don't do it. I think this near side sub. I'll read that comment after this rally. Need to give that player credit for that block. But I can't tell. Did that the setter got it? Yeah. He actually did a good job blocking against that game. 1,075 push-ups a day? Dude. Adam, I'm proud of you, man. The 6 miles, I feel like that's impressive because you've been doing that for probably almost 2 years now. I don't know about 6 miles, but I know that where were we? I think I remember being in Detroit at Nationals and you had gotten a pretty good workout routine. 1 year? Dude, it's been more than a year. Where were Nationals last year? Last year was in Indy. Year before that was Detroit, and you were working out in Detroit, dude. Weren't you? I can't remember. Yeah, 0 burpees. Dude, I've been doing 100 burpees a day. I've done 25 so far today. The first 3 days I did it all in one go, but I just started to get so sore I couldn't do it all in one sitting anymore. I kind of do like 50 during the day, and then honestly at around 11 o'clock I'm like, oh, I gotta do 50 more before midnight. Yeah, dude, it hurts. But thanks, man. What number was that? 8? Oh. All right, we got within 2. Um, oh, hang on. Comment. Yeah. Okay, so a year. All right. Yeah, I will say though with the burpees, today I was able to do 25 in a row. So whatever amount of cardio it requires to do that. Okay, so it's been a year, legit, over a year, 13 months. Nice. If I tried to go run a mile right now, I would just feel bad about myself. For the dictator. Right. Standing float gets SH. During. Lockdown. Not gonna go running because of the lockdown? I mean, I could tell that to people, but the truth is I'm not gonna go running because I don't need to feel that bad about myself at the moment. Maybe after a week of doing burpees, I might be a little more motivated to give it a try. Oh, barrel serving. Oh, we got that point. Hold on. Thought she got blocked. Her that was in. Wait, I didn't award the point. Oh, yeah, dude. I remember what you're talking about. Man. Hey, but good for you, dude. Hopped on that elliptical and rest is history. Now your clothes doesn't even fit you in a good way. My clothes stopped fitting me in a bad way. Some people say that my voice is cutting in and out on the microphone. That might have been from earlier. Interesting. But it's been okay since then. Okay, cool. Appreciate that. Yeah, this is just a test stream. So, trying to figure out what the right volume levels are going to be. And, you know, there's a 3-game match that was going to take me a couple hours to do it. And I figured there's no better time to test things out than right now. I really intended to just make a rotation tape. It would have gone a lot faster. Where I just get the serve and the point and then rotate everybody. But this is how I am. I have to do the most. Way better now. Okay, good. What's up, Courtney? Thanks for hanging out. Get you guys hopping in here. Yeah, Courtney, I thought you had a good idea when you had mentioned doing a video on why coaches start in the rotations they start in. And this is the match that I thought of um because I feel like when we decided where we were going to start in game 3, it went against some of the I remember going against some of the main principles that Adam and I usually follow. And I remember even sitting down. Once I sat down, it's not game 3, but when I sat down at the start of game 3, I remember looking at Adam and I was just like, dude, I hope this works. And it did. You know, we won. But who really knows if it was because of where we started or not. Amen to that. Dude, it was weird. I was so confident, like, this is what has to happen, and I'm willing to lose making the right decision. You know, what I don't want to do, and I know you and I tell this to you all the time, it's like I don't want to lose just playing it safe or going with what you know, out of fear that if we try something else it's not going to work. I don't ever want to get in that position, but anybody else that's watching, you know, Adam and I talk about these things all the time, and certainly there are going to be times where, you know, I can think back to like when we were in Kansas City this year. You know, we had already determined what we were going to do if we go to game 3, and then as the match played out, we actually went against what we had talked about, and it was a calculated decision. You know, sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, but I certainly have watched and been a part of many matches where, you know, it's like this idea that you're going to go down with, you know, if you're going to lose, you're going to lose with the horse that got you there, you know. And the best counter example to that I can think of in recent years was with Alabama, and in the national championship match, Nick Saban was down and went away from his starting quarterback who had played all year long, and got them to the national championship match, and he made that switch, and they ended up winning because of it. So I think that's a great example. Is it always going to happen that way? No. Usually, maybe not. But in Alabama's case, I mean, it was a calculated thing, and something that he went into the game already knowing that if this, then that. He had a plan. You know, it wasn't kind of like a off the cuff sort of, hey, let's just try this and see what happens. And we can't all be Nick Saban. I mean, shoot. How many times does Adam and I look at each other and say, well, let's try this, you know? How are you going to know if you don't try it? Where are we at? Is this the new rally? Yeah. Last rally. Base. And it was that block that I remember thinking, this is Krista, and she had played for us for a couple years. She was blocking extremely well in this match. I was pretty excited for her, actually. You know, we weren't playing that great, and she was carrying a big load and doing a really good job with her blocking kind of in this stretch right here. That really kept us like a momentum play. You know, we were within 1 or 2 at a moment ago, and that block was a big play for them. See what happens here. Wait a second. Gave the wrong team the point. Back. This team. There we go. Where are we at in chat? What did I miss? Oh, that's a great analogy, yeah. There's actually another time that it goes back to 2010 when I was watching this team, and they were competing in the NCAA Division I tournament, women's, and it was a back and forth fight. It ended up going to the 5th set, and the reason it had gone to the 5th set was because that their number one outside hitter hit a wall, could not carry the load anymore, and I think they were up 2-0. They lose game 3. Game 4, it's pretty clear, okay, this we need to make an adjustment. And they brought in a freshman to sort of ease the load for that starting outside, who was a senior at the time. And the freshman lit it up, brought them back. It was close. And then in game 5, they went back to the starting outside, and just couldn't score anymore. Couldn't find a kill, and they ended up losing in that 5th set. Just remember thinking, like, from where I was sitting, as a spectator in the stands, it just seemed so obvious that in the 5th game they should have went with the freshman. But when you're sitting on the sidelines, I can think of if I'm there and I'm sitting on the bench and I'm coaching that team, I'm probably thinking the same thing. This player's been an All-American for us for 3 years in a row. She's the best player in the conference, and if we're gonna win or lose, it's gonna be because it's gonna be because of her, and it was just such an interesting perspective to be able to sit up in the stands and watch this match unfold. And I remember thinking, maybe if I'm ever in that situation, I might want to be more open to the idea of, hey, if we know we're going to lose, then we should do something about it. If we know we're going to lose, we should do something to change the momentum or change the outcome. I'm going to go with experience. Well, totally, right? Who wouldn't? And that's a good point, Adam. I mean, I go with experience all the time. If I had to bet money, I'm probably going to bet money on the more experienced player. All right, let's keep this going. Right, I think it's default to dig, so let's see what happens here. These bang bang plays at the net are so hard to code. Gonna give her a referee called error. We're gonna move on. We don't care about that data. What a run. I don't know how many points that was, but a lot. Zero serving on. 14 serving 19. $15-19. Clutch plays right there. Both sides. Get a little rally going. $16-19. Got to keep the run going. All right, back within 2. Down 3 again. All right, let's keep it going. No questions yet. That's okay. Ooh. Nice play, Ryan. Good set, too, actually. Both fast. How do I do this? Opponent. Oh my gosh. 3 and hitting 3 and then E is so hard. You know what? I don't have to hit E. I need to stop doing that. That should be default, I think. Oh, pay attention. Oh, I forgot to get that sub. Actually gonna 1921. Close. That's that. Don't tell me we lose this rally. Nice. Wow. Good effort by their setter to save that ball. Especially because that was one that she had missed earlier in this set. Huge play. Well, our side. 6 is already in the. Oh, wait. We do. We do what, Adam? What are you talking about? That's a big angle. Wow. Nice. Okay, I'm going to stop pressing E. That motor memory. A lot of people call it muscle memory, right? But you get used to like the set pattern of doing things. Interference. That old habit. Hard to break. In the set setter. Press E. Oh, my default is free ball. Dang it. I was actually wondering that. I had made a few errors earlier. I wonder if I should go back to default. Make my default. Hmm. Ugh. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to making the default setting. I'm having a really hard time with the quick attack. Losing that point. Dude, we should have won that, right? What even happened here? Joust? Not really a joust. But you know, to make this simple, we're actually just gonna say number 10, set the ball. 12, hit a ball. 4 and tipped it. What was the call? Oh, net center line violation? Yeah. Since it doesn't really matter, we're gonna give He's not gonna get a kill for that, but 22-23. Had no idea this game was that close. Oh, my fingers are getting tired. Or 20. Late game became pretty competitive. Oh. Where's that? What a play. What a set, too, by 324, folks. Take it. Save. Again, black. The nail biter. Hey, you're doing awesome. Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate that. That match actually wasn't that long ago, and I don't recall. I didn't realize we were like so close so many times, but now that I've watched it again, I do remember that feeling of, as a coach, it's exhausting, right? Because you're, the emotion that goes into it and the effort and the energy it takes to like suppress all the frustration that you might have as a coach, to like keep getting within one or two, and the whole time you're thinking, man, if we can just make one more play, right, then we could maybe break this thing open, shift the momentum, and it requires both your athletes to step up and make that play, and then your opponent has to feel, really they have to start feeling that those nerves again, as if they're kind of like losing that sense of control over things. And when that can happen, when you're chipping away and you're rolling, and all of a sudden you shift the momentum and you can get your opponent to start feeling like they're no longer in control, you can turn that around and run away with it. Waiting for the lineups there. Yeah, we can probably. So this is kind of the moment in the match that we were talking about. And without kind of giving away too much of the information, it looks like we had already decided where we're going to start. Should I go backwards? I think this is where Adam and I are talking about it. We're looking at the data. So if you use an iPad or whatever to take stats, I want to get into some of that too, but I'm going to save it for the video. And I would say, you know, most coaches probably know what they're doing and how they're using that information, but I think there could be a useful video for the coaches that maybe are just starting to now use statistics or take statistics during a match. And maybe what I can do is provide a little insight on how to use that information most effectively in determining what kind of adjustments might help your team win, right? Oh, that's what we're trying to decide here is are we going to go with what we had already determined would be best for our team, or now with the data and how this match is being played out, is that information compelling enough to say, hey, wait a second, we shouldn't do what we said we were going to do, we should do that. And that's what we ended up doing. And well, I give Adam a lot of credit because, you know, I'm the guy that gives him the suggestion and he's the guy that makes the ultimate decision. And while you might say, you know, hey, I'm just doing what you told me to do, at the same time, it falls on him, right? You know, if this decision didn't work, you know, okay, I gave him a decision, he made a call, and it didn't work out. But as a head coach, I mean, it's not easy. There's a lot of decisions that you have to make, and in a very short amount of time, he has to figure out whether or not I'm right, essentially. Have I convinced him that this information compelling enough to change his mind? And then it was. And at this moment right there, that's when I look at him, I say, hey, dude, I hope this works. And I started laughing. He probably felt real confident right then. But, you know, honestly, I do that to ease the tension, right? This is high stress. And have to ease the tension as a coach, because if you're gonna be at your best, you have to compose yourself in a way that allows your players to be at their best. And that's why I try to cut the tension with letting him know, just as a reminder, you know, hey, this might not work, you know, so knowing that we're going to either win or lose, let's continue to do our best to help our players be at their best. I think coaches would love that. Yeah, I could probably just clip that, you know, what I just talked about, but I do want to make that YouTube video, and certainly it's more geared for coaches, but I think some insight as a young player, you know, when you're talking about wanting to increase your volleyball IQ, to a degree it can be useful just knowing like what other decisions might be going into you know, the rotation that you start in. So we'll see. Dang it, did this match start already? Game start? Gotta back it up so I can get the... Where did we start? I think we should have started in row 2. Okay, forefront, line up so I can see where we're at. Gotta remember 14 all that way. Forefront, line up. 12 is the middle of that. 14, 12. Like 3. Oh. Okay. Forefront's on the far side. We are in row 3. 7, 5, 2, 10, 1. 12 was the middle. We went to 5 over here again. And they kept it the same. And they have serve. Oh man, getting hungry. Serving 1. Whoa. Fingers are not working. What? Did? Pulled it right away, too. It was a good set. I know. Dude, that looked like bang bang, dude. I can't believe he saw that net. Oh, if you remember, actually, he wasn't calling nets all day. And then he finally called a net. Let's watch Adam's reaction here. Adam was like, good job, dude. Good job. Oh, man. He actually did a good job. I remember that day. I feel like he could have given us a yellow card at any moment, and he didn't. So I actually, appreciate that and give him props for, not going on like a power trip. Yeah, about time. All right. Before I finish this set, I need to go fill up some water. So, show you guys what. Okay. He did fill out an evaluation for him. I'm pretty sure that was his first tournament ever working. Okay. A couple things need to happen here before I go fill up water. Pause that. Gosh. Thank you. Jody, you should really be in the chat for the YouTube thing, because I don't really have my phone open. But got jokes now. I coughed. No, I don't have COVID. I haven't left my house in over a week. Got 2-1 here. My fingers are really out of shape, you guys. They're getting tired of typing. And this is only the 3rd set. Big. You get that? Ooh, how'd you tell on video? Might be time for a break here soon? Dude, you're telling me. But I gotta finish the set. It's only 3-2, bro. We can expedite this here. Things up. I think that's what happened. I'm not sure. Alexis, welcome to the stream. Thanks for hanging out and watching. Appreciate that. Hope you're enjoying the content. See, I did it again. Trying to press 4 and I keep pressing 2. Nice. This is how much people are missing volleyball right now. They're watching me stream an old match. Oop, VP, not IP. I'm out. 7-4. A huge point coming up here in a second. I think it's this ace. Yeah. Huge point for us. Why was that a huge point? It's not just because it put us up, 8-4, and led to the switch. It was because we're in our bad rotations for this particular. Yeah, big point right here. Yeah, Adam knows what I'm talking about because we've talked about this a lot. The reason we started in rotation 3 was because, for whatever reason, rotations 1 and 2 were really bad for us in this match. And what was so interesting was that all day long, right? We've played 3 matches prior to this one, and all day long, rotations 1 and 2 were were great for us, were huge. I mean, our point differential was like double digits in those in each of those rotations. Okay, so plus 10 or more when we're in rows 1 and 2. And so that's kind of a sneak peek as to like why it was such why it felt like such a gamble to start in rotation 3, because on the flip side of that, all day long, rotations 4, 3, 4, and 5 were actually bad for us. Our point differential was basically 0 or negative in those rotations. So what do you do, right, as a coach? Do you go with, okay, over the course of today, rows 1 and 2 have actually been strong for us, and then in this game, in this moment, it's not going well for us? It's that idea, I think, of being a prisoner of the moment. You know, if we were to let things play out, would rows 1 and 2 end up being good for us again, like they had been all day? And I felt like the answer was no. You know, this match is being played out the way it is, and to have such a dramatic change and drop in rotations 1 and 2, there was a reason that we just weren't aware of, and we needed to start as far away from those 2 rotations as possible, and that's why we started in row 3. So that was huge ace for us. Man, that would have been great. Who is serving? I can't tell. Oh, she's tying her shoe. Okay. Should be 31. I just missed. 11 that came in. All right, fingers, come on. Big side out for it. Tough block. Isn't this working? I keep pressing B instead of V. V. The V simply means that a non-setter set that ball. Hit it to 5. It's the first time I've coded in a long time. Surprised I'm even getting as much as I am. That serve didn't miss by much. No, it really didn't. Here's the beauty of software. Look how I can just jump right back to the play that Adam's talking about. Ooh, that was close. Watch it frame by frame. Ugh. You know, you probably could have called that in and got away with it. But, I mean, that's how close it was. but I remember thinking, okay, that's probably the right call at the time. 6-10. Row 2. We're not out of it yet. Ooh, Adam down to 1%. It did float a lot. Actually, E-Serve floated quite a bit this whole tournament. I made that funny serving ace video that she had 4 aces in 1 serving turn. But the ball was moving quite a lot. Very difficult to pass. We're cheering and it's confusing me. Nice block. Again. All right, it's coming back to me. 8-2. So, okay, I'm gonna walk you through some of the other stuff that we were, like how we use the data, the statistics to help help us as coaches to control the ebbs and flows and the emotions that could possibly get out of control in a game like this. Now, it's a high stakes game. It's a lot of pressure, and it's a rivalry match. Okay, so the emotions are running high, and the stress levels can be really high too. As coaches, you have to monitor that, right? Again, I had mentioned how important it is for you to be at your best so your players can be at their best. And going into this game, we already knew, based on what the data was telling us, that we were likely to lose points when we were in rotations 1 and 2. Okay? So it's 8-4 at the switch. We're excited for a number of reasons, but we're excited because that ace gave us 1 extra point that we could afford to give back. Okay? And here's an example, you know, this play here to make it 8-10 instead of 11-7, you know, that can be pretty discouraging. And it is, you know, for everybody, you know, especially the 2 players that are there. You know, no one's going to be harder and more disappointed about what just happened there than those 2 players, right? Because it was in their area. So what we do is, knowing that it's likely for us to give points back, we're not going to panic as coaches. We're not going to necessarily take an unscheduled timeout. If we already know that we're going to give up points in this rotation and there's nothing that we can do we can't figure out what the problem is, and therefore we can't identify a solution, then we don't necessarily want to take a timeout there if we don't have to. We might want to save our timeouts for a more significant moment later that we could actually help them by taking the timeout. So, you know, if we don't have an answer for them and we don't feel like we're totally giving up momentum, then we're just gonna, you know, we're gonna move on to the next play. I think that's what we did here. Move on. Nobody's fault. All right, so now we take it. Probably the right call there too. You know? The hope was that we could get away with, maybe one more point and side it out. We weren't able to do it. Now, before we totally give up momentum, we want to take the time out here. Part of it too is, you come out of this timeout and you're still up one. So we're not in panic mode yet, I would hope. Maybe now we're starting to go panic mode. Oh, wow. Awesome. Double typing. Other thing to say. What was it? Unplayable. Six aces in a row. Yeah, no, 4 aces in a row. Our libero serving. Who's taking pictures back there? Well, Jody, you should be logging into to your YouTube so that you can participate in the chat. I know it says that you have to like make your own channel, but it's really just one click. They activate your own YouTube channel, but you don't like. That's it. That's all you have to do. And then you can start chatting. Who's serving right now? Is it? Okay. Ooh, 4. Is that a let serve? You did there a little bit. It's actually 3. $11. Okay, so at this moment, I'll tell you what I was thinking. I desperately want to win this match before we go back into rotations 1 and 2. So I'm thinking, okay, we're good. We're sitting on one more timeout. We're in our better rotations right now. So I was confident that I was confident that we were going to build enough points or score enough points where at least going into rotations 1 and 2, if we hadn't already won the match, we would only need like one more point. That was what I was thinking. So let's see what ends up happening. Wasn't expecting that, but okay. No problem. Still, there's no time to panic as a coach or a player. Wow, what a set. What a block touch. I'm out. Okay, maybe now we're panicking. No, not really. But what do you got to do? I mean, your kids have to step up. Your players have to make a play, right? They're, they're either going to do it or they're not. And so I say that a lot because I want to, I don't want to overreact or get over emotional about what's happening and potentially create more distraction for the players that would take them off their game, you know. So there's a lot that's going on here on the court, you know, and it's why we choose to practice the way that we practice, and that's playing a lot. We practice that way because we value reps in practice for this very moment. These players have to teach themselves to manage their breathing, control their focus, or just refocus themselves. And whether they start to use things to clear their head or to give them a jolt of confidence and this sort of I can do this, or this right now, this whatever it is. We want those skills to emerge in practice and then strengthen over time without us having to talk about it or explain it or take time to try to teach it. What we do is we create the environment for something like that to emerge on its own. And every time our team goes out there and plays, we can see the payoff because of it. So let's see what happens here and what unfolds. Keep in mind that we're playing with our backup setter. You know, Elijah, very capable. She took her high school team to deep into the state playoffs this last year, and but still, you know, it's not easy to take over the setting responsibility when you're the backup. It's not easy in any position when you're serving as a backup for that tournament or that day. Double evaluating that pass. Won't use these stats. Woo! Out. Huge. What a big play for us. Another huge play. Okay, what you're seeing now in these last two plays is another big reason for why we train the way we do. It's this idea that we practice for performance. We practice for this moment right here. When the pressure is on, we want to be able to perform as best as we can that day. And a big part of that is being able to stay in the moment, to not let the stakes of the game or the outcome distract you when the ball is in play. And if that does happen, you're likely to make a lot more mistakes or bad decisions or kind of tense up and overthink things. So in a way, the idea behind this implicit learning thing, where you're not saying quite as much as a coach, the benefit for the player is this. If I don't give you a list of 10 different things of why this skill is performed a certain way, you know, the technique of things, then in these moments, you cannot think about those things, which would be a huge distraction when the pressure's on, you know, thinking about your arm prep or your hand positioning or, where your feet should be aligned. Those things become huge distractions in games. You know, maybe not quite as much if you're drilling or learning as a beginner, but so I think that's kind of what we're seeing here with our kids. You know, it's they're not being distracted by these irrelevant factors that would affect how they perform and how they move and how they react. All right, so now we're back up. OJ's calls their timeout. Both teams have now used both timeouts. Adam, I don't know if you're still watching or not, but somewhere in this part of the match, I remember you asked if we wanted to go with a blocking sub. Something that I usually would have been the one to suggest. I was like, no. We're not. Such a fantastic serve. Huge. Huge serve. Jody, you're in. Hi, Jody. Hi, Alexis. Welcome. Okay, getting back to kind of my point earlier, you know, when we got to rotation 3, like I said, I was confident that if the numbers were even close to being true, we would either win the match or be 1 point away from winning the match by the time we got to rotation 1. Okay. So we're sitting gravy. I'm like, all right, side out, side out, side out. We win, right? Not so easy. See what happens here. Nice set on a tight ball. Good job, her. Big time play right there on their part. Now, remember, all day long, these were actually our weaker rotations. Okay? So, scores 13-14. And if you recall, the ace that we had to go up 8-4 at the switch was a huge point for us. And here is why. It's right here. That 1 point advantage that we currently have was that ace that Elijah came up with. Not sure what that message said. Getting crazy here. I remember at this moment, right before the ball was served, I looked at Adam and I said, hey, Elijah knows who to set here, right? No brainer. Both hitters are capable of scoring a point. Don't get me wrong. But it's a numbers game, right? Like your outside is more likely to get set here, and over time has developed more experience at these end of the match moments. Which is why I would have liked to see the ball go to Ryan here. But you know, hey, maybe they're not expecting the middle to get set, and your middle is usually a higher percentage hitter anyways. So risk reward here for sure. A huge cover. I could have sworn that was out. That was out. You guys watch this again. That hit the antenna. Ugh. I forgot that. The play on.